We went out, and the first time I heard turkey gobble, I just lit up like a Christmas tree, dude. I was like, oh my goodness. I could still feel my heart getting. So, like, I'm sitting here, and my buddy's sitting over here, like, a little bit behind me. But, like, where the bend is, I couldn't see the turkey right away. My buddy's like, dude, get ready. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. I'm like, no way. And then all of a sudden, I hear him. Bah! I'm like, holy crap. He's, like, right on top of us.
Hey, hunting family, welcome back to the Tracks and Tackle podcast, where we're going to celebrate real people living that outdoor lifestyle. Tonight, we're joined by Hunter Carr, host of the Blue Hen Outdoors podcast. Based out of Delaware, Hunter brings that fun, no BS to the conversation about hunting, fishing, travel, everything in between. From local Delaware whitetail and waterfowl hunts to bucket list trips like mule deer and Sonora, Mexico, and chasing fins in the spring. His show mixes great guest stories, comedy, authentic outdoor adventure, and he's passionate about showcasing real hunts with purpose. Hunter, thanks for hopping on the show with us tonight. We're excited to hear about your journey with Blue Hen Outdoors. I want to hear about some of your favorite hunts and what's happening in that Delaware Mid-Atlantic scene, man. What's going on? Let's dive in.
What's up, guys? Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. I know it's been a little while in the making. Sorry, allergies are kicking my ass this week. If I'm talking a little funny. But, yeah, dude, I can't wait to dive in.
We've been playing text tag and lineup tag for close to a year now, so got it locked down, dude. So let's jump in. Ron, start us off, bro.
Yeah, so Hunter, I mean, part of what we do when we bring on a guest, you heard me address everybody at the beginning. We have what we call our hunting family, and we want to introduce you to the audience. So I'll just let you, I try to do a short bio there to hype you up a little bit, man. But why don't you just tell a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and about your brand.
Yeah, so my name is Hunter Carr, host and manager / everything of the Blue Hen Outdoors podcast / social media page on Instagram and TikTok. As you guys mentioned, I'm located in Delaware. I do lots of whitetail hunting, waterfowl hunting, turkeys hitting the ground running since we just opened up last Saturday. I do a lot of fishing. Been trying, as I've had people on my show, been trying to get into more divulges of fishing. Like I've picked up spearfishing within the last couple of years. Picked up fly fishing recently within the past year. So yeah, it's just kind of a little short snippet I got.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. So you're in Delaware. Chris has traditionally hunted Maryland, and I'm a PA guy, right? And so in PA, the turkey hunting, it stinks. It's just like the same thing with archery and deer hunting. We watch all these states around us open up their seasons, and we have to wait a month before we can go chase some birds. So
yeah,
but we got some turkey nuts in our group that are already down there in Maryland getting after it.
Yeah, Maryland comes in Saturday. They did the youth hunt last Saturday as we're talking now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this coming Saturday, the 18th. It's going to open up.
Yeah, it's what stinks about Pennsylvania. We're always watching everybody around us go get it. We have to travel out of state if we want to start early.
Trust me, I was feeling. I've been seeing everybody down in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Mississippi.
Yep.
All down south, because I have a lot of people from down south on my show. So it's
yeah,
I see all them. I'm like.
That's the way it is on social media too. You see everybody's grip and grin pics and that sort of stuff. It's one thing, it gets you excited, it gets you amped up for the start of the season, but the other piece is we have to wait. So
yeah.
So
Well,
what
go ahead,
inspired
Chris.
you, dude? What gets you into this? We're talking about getting excited. What sparked the old interest to start all this up? And take us back how you got into all this stuff, dude.
So growing up, my dad got me into hunting. He's a big deer hunter from up on Lake Erie in Pennsylvania, top of the state. Growing up, me and him had a hunting lease when I was younger in Clayton, Delaware. It's kind of like just before the Maryland line a little bit off of Smyrna.
Okay.
When I was in high school, unfortunately, the guy who we had the lease sold it, or sold his rights part of it, so we had to get kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was going to college in North Carolina to go play college football for a little bit. But when I came back, right around tail end of COVID, as COVID was pretty much kind of like on the back burner, like in 2021, I started hunting public land back up here. And then I reconnected with a buddy of mine, so he lets me hunt his private in South Smyrna, just like between Dover and Smyrna. And then 2 years ago, my dad got back on a lease in Maryland, and I joined that with him for 2 years. But I'm taking a year off this year just because I have a lot of other stuff I want to try to do, and as far as try to do some travel hunting, I have a young child, so I got to take time for that as well.
That's important.
Yeah. But
I was just going to say, one of the things we talk about a lot, Hunter, on this show, and our audience probably thinks it's repetitive, but we're always talking about, we got kids now, and, we got nephews and we got nieces, and, the next generation of outdoorsmen, outdoorswomen and stuff. So like we celebrate that stuff. And so it's real important to take the time, even though we're still passionate about wanting to go out and chase turkeys and chase whitetails and that sort of stuff. Taking a kid hunting and fishing, that sort of thing. It's something we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
So
growing up, what got you hooked? What were you chasing? Your prime time chasing? What were you going after as a kid?
So prime time on our lease, we were hunting whitetail. My dad comes from a big whitetail hunting background, being in upstate PA. That was kind of what got me hooked at first. Like when I was sitting with Dad, seeing the first couple of deer walk out, and like we didn't really shoot nothing the first couple of times, but then he was like, "Oh yeah, like this is what it's like. You see the animals, see a couple of does and fawns milling around." I was like, "Okay, this is kind of cool." And then my first hunt he took me on, we were duck hunting on that same lease because they used to have a couple retaining ponds, and then the property was split by kind of a swamp/slough. There was like drainage for the farms, but it would flood and kind of almost be like a flooded timber, but not really, because it was all like drainage ditches that went into like where the wood line dipped down and for the two properties. But yeah, I'll say so I first got hooked when he took me out and I saw all the deer and stuff. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I was really hooked when we went duck hunting. First duck me and my dad ever shot was a blue-winged teal.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Cool.
I was 12 years old, and then after that, I was just hooked. I was always trying to go out every weekend. I didn't have football with Dad. I mentioned I did play football in college and through high school and everything, so kind of my season was put on the back burner until that was done. So later season whitetail, waterfowl was kind of more my jam at first, because that's when all that was happening at the end of football season. I think I was 15 or 14 when I got my first deer. And then after that, it's just I was just been bit by the bug. I mean, I never really bow hunted early on. I didn't pick that up till I was out of college because A, my dad never really bow hunted, and B, it was just kind of like, you're busy during that when that's hot anyway, so you're playing football, so it's like you don't really got to worry about it. Just do gun season and waterfowl.
Right. I mean, I remember growing up and I did shoot bow. I mean, I was shooting my bow before I could hunt. And I remember, playing football and sports, fall sports, you had to choose what you were going to put your time into, and we got a couple guys that are in high school and college age in our group. And, it's that time of year, winter sports, you gotta pour yourself into that, and you miss a couple of weekends of hunting and stuff because you're only that age once. But, eventually you grow into it. And bow hunting's another thing that I think that I don't say you need to have somebody, anybody can go out and bow hunt, but if you have somebody like a mentor that does it that invites you to go along and shows you the ropes and teaches you about it, it's easier to get into.
Yeah, I was kind of more self-taught on that.
Fast forward now, buddy. What's got you hooked now, and then translate to that how you started your podcast and your brand.
So what's got me hooked now, I'll have to say, is turkeys, because I think it was like a year or two after I got back in the spring. And my dad, he took me out turkey hunting on our lease, but it wasn't not like, I don't want to say it wasn't real turkey hunting, but we were just kind of like, all right, sitting there waiting for one to kind of walk by, so to speak.
Right.
It wasn't like how it kind of is now. Like people are out running on with decoys or running and gunning or all that fun stuff. But my buddy who I mentioned, who I hunt his private in earlier, he was like, hey, we were actually out duck hunting one day, and I was like, you know, I want to try to do some more stuff. Like I just want, like, I've always heard about turkey hunting. He's like, oh, dude, turkey hunting. It's just, he's like, once you go, you'll get hooked. He's like, I'll take you, and you're just going to be the thing you want to do for the rest of your life. I'm like, all right, I'll take you up on that. So we go out, probably a couple of springs after that, we had that talk. And I'll never forget it. We went out, and the first time I heard a turkey gobble, I just lit up like a Christmas tree, dude. I was like, oh my goodness. I can still feel my heart getting quicker as I'm talking about it. But I was like, as soon as I heard that first gobble, I was hooked. I was like, okay. So then we go, try to get closer. You know how it goes. You know, you get as close as you can without getting too close. So, like, I'm sitting here, and my buddy's sitting over here, like, a little bit behind me. But, like, where the bend is, I couldn't see the turkey right away. My buddy's like, dude, get ready. He's coming. I'm like, no way. And then all of a sudden, I hear him, bah! I'm like, holy crap, he's, like, right on top of us. And then when I tell you the first time I seen the turkey just plume out and strut, my jaw just hit the floor.
Yeah.
I was like, I just sat there and like, I didn't even want to pull the trigger. I just sat there and watched him in amazed. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, wow, just the colors, the beauty, just everything about a turkey strutting, everything that makes a turkey hunter want to keep going. It all just hit me right there at once. I was like, whoa. And I tried to shoot and whiffed, but, you know, that is what it is.
Yeah, sometimes that doesn't matter, right? It's not that's just part of the story.
It didn't matter, like I was saying, like for me, just sitting there watching him, hearing him, experiencing it for the first time, being that close, I was like, okay, I'm hooked.
Well, this is the right time of year. I mean, it's spring, yeah. Right? So it's the right time of year to have you on the show. So maybe this worked out, you know, timing wise, you know, where we can talk birds a little bit. Anyway, go ahead, Chris.
No, two things. I have a question so where I grew up in Maryland, there wasn't turkeys. The guys listen to our show have heard me say that a bunch, and NWTF's real famous for introducing them to where I grew up, and they've taken off now. But so I get jazzed to this day. I've only turkey hunted twice, but if I see a turkey in the woods, I'm just pumped. I'm like a little kid. I'm like, look at this dinosaur running through the woods, right?
Yeah.
Where you guys live and hunt, do they do a fall season too, or is it just a spring?
It's just a spring season here in Delaware. Also, I do hunt Maryland. I have hunted New Jersey for turkeys. I have hunted South Carolina for turkeys. Yeah,
a favorite of that
kind
group,
of been
Joe?
A favorite out of that group, I'd have to either say is Home is Where the Heart Is. Good. Nothing beats a good Delaware turkey hunt. And I'll have to say South Carolina is pretty cool because just being down there early spring, the weather's finally just getting right. It's not too hot, but it's not too cold. You know, you got the tall pine trees.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. If you played ball down south, you got some good turkey hunting down there. I didn't know if you were able to do any crossover and get some hunting in while you were down that way.
No, I wanted to. I always tried to plan and tried to figure it out, but when I was down there, I never really made it happen. I was kind of just too busy with all the ball and school stuff. But now that's over with, I'm like,
Fast track that into how you started your brand and your podcast and how that's kind of taken off.
Yeah, so 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was 2, I had the bright idea. I was like, well, I didn't have the bright idea. My buddy who I mentioned that I hunt with and the girl I was dating at the time, they were both like, dude, you watch so many hunting videos, so many fishing stuff. Like, you yourself have a personality. We've seen it. We know it. Why don't you try doing that? And I was like, yeah, let's try doing it. So then when I started it, it was right when bow season hit here. So I was like, all right, blue hen bow hunting has a nice ring to it. It flows. And then I started shooting content and doing like small snippet videos and stuff. And then I was like, wait a minute, I do a lot more than just bow hunting. So then I rebranded to Blue Hen Outdoors.
Right.
And then I was like, okay. So I was like, well, let's see how this social media thing, videos and all that starts going. And then that kind of not took off, but did better than I expected it to. And I was like, okay. And then it kind of not was getting to the point of what's next, but like the always like what's next is in the back of my mind kind of thing. I was like, all right, how can I make this bigger? How can I make this better? What can I do to make this better? Well, flash forward to I got invited on a brant hunt after I started my brand with a guy. Shout out Henlope and Waterfowl, best brant guide in Delaware. He was like, hey, I got some Jersey guys coming down. It'll be a ball. We'll have a fun time brant hunting. We'll shoot the breeze. Have a good time. So I'm like, okay. Go down, meet them. When I met the Jersey guys, they're like, oh, yeah, we do the media thing and a podcast. So I was like, oh. And like, I don't know what happened, but it just clicked. I was like, I've never really heard of people around my area doing podcasts on hunting and fishing. Like, it's always like people out west or people in the Midwest or people down south. Like, not that they take all the credit for doing it, but like that's who you mainly see, the big people. So I was like, huh. So that was always in the back of my mind, doing a podcast. I'm like, well, then flash forward after that hunting season, I hopped on a show. At the time, the girl I was dating, we're engaged, so we're sitting together, we're living together. She's hearing me talk and interact on the show and whatnot, and she just kind of looks at me and is like, why don't you do your own thing? And I was like, maybe. So like within that week, I kind of hit a couple people up on social media that like I had made connections with and a following kind of through. And I was like, hey, if I were to do a podcast, would you want to hop on it and talk, or would you want to be a guest? Like kind of like putting the feelers out to be like, hey, like, you know, would you want to do this if I did it? And everybody's like, yeah. Well, you know, we'd love to come on, you know. And I'm like, okay. So I asked the guys I went brant hunting with in New Jersey, and by that time I was figuring out my thing, and they had me on their show. So I was like, okay. And then after their show, I was like, well, what do you guys do? How do you guys do it? Like, and they're like, the easiest way to do that is use this streaming platform or use this recording platform and then use this platform to get it out and stream it.
Right.
So I was like, okay. So I looked into it a little more because I know a couple guys do Zoom, a couple guys do different platforms like how you guys have to record. And I was like, all right. I ended up using what they did because I was like, okay, this is what I know, and guys close enough to me know how to use this stuff and work it if I got questions. So then my first episode is just the guy I had on talking to the Abyss because I had issues trying to get myself on how we have us three and the background and all that fun stuff. And I was doing it from my phone. I've since moved to a laptop and have a professional mic now. But I was doing everything off my phone with my earbuds and doing it like that. Well, then I had the Jersey guys on. Shout out the Marsh Boys podcast, Marsh Boys Outdoors. They came on, and then after they came on my show, dude, Brian was like, dude, you need to change this. You got to do that. You got to try to fix this. And then take good constructive criticism, and I always like good feedback, good or bad.
It's good to have a mentor, whether you're hunting or you're podcasting or whatever you're getting into, right?
Yeah, for sure. So then, next thing I knew, I have a couple big names on, like Daniel Cheatham of Early Turkey Fans down in Mississippi, Ryan Bass on the Road to 100. Shout out CJ Duffy and Reddick Diving. I'm like, oh wow, these are like some big guys in the game, and they're just hopping on my show as just starting out. So then I'm like, okay, where do I go from here? I've had a mix of a diving guy on, hunting guys. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it all. So then from there, I kind of just took off, so to speak.
Yeah.
Not took off as like, oh, it's like, you know, my show's booming and this and that. No, it kind of took off on all different kind of guests and people who I never would have thought I'd have on. Like I've had Spook's Band, shout out Spook, good, awesome guy. Chef Jean-Paul Bourgeois from Duck Camp Dinners, he's an awesome dude.
Yeah, I think The cool thing, Hunter, is, and we say this all the time, is you meet cool people. You just do. You meet cool people doing this. And look, if you're passionate about whatever the subject is, whether it's fishing or hunting or, waterfowl or archery, it doesn't matter. You find somebody else that's passionate about that, and we can sit around and we can tell stories and we can talk about that stuff, And so that's the fun thing with podcasting for us, because, just before you were coming on, Chris and I were talking, and we're just saying that, he looks at things from one perspective, and I look at things from a different perspective. And I think that's what's cool about our show, is because we keep each other honest and bring some balance to the conversations that we have and that sort of thing too. So where are you looking to go? Like, you've got the podcast established, you're doing Blue Hen Outdoors online and socials and stuff. And something that I heard you say was you're always thinking about, well, what's next? So, I mean, what do you got percolating? What do you think's next, or where you want to take this thing? Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of happy with where it's at right now. I mean, ideally, if like one of the bigger brands, so to speak, comes and picks me up as like a affiliate of their show, that'd be amazing. But I still work a 9-to-5 job. I'm a construction inspector, so it's just kind of like my little side thing that I do to kind of relax and release and have some fun when the season's not in, or if I'm not chasing nothing. But what's next? I mean, I want to try to do a couple trips, meet up with a couple guys / women that I've had on the show, do a couple hunts with them, shoot some content or get some like pictures and like have like a little more than just posting podcasts, so to speak. Like, not that I don't. I mean, I've had a few hunting pictures mixed in there from this past year, but I kind of don't want to lean away from just posting podcasts on there. But I kind of want to have like, okay, he's not just talking about it, he's actually doing it. So I think that's kind of the next step. I kind of like go meet a couple people that I've become friends with, kind of go do some new different things.
Yeah, me and Ron,
see what happens from there.
Ron and I talk about it all the time. You get to this point and you have this group of people and you have friends and followers and you have content and you're like, okay, I'm at a place, this is really cool. This is rad where I'm at.
Right.
Do I want to keep going and bring in more people, or am I just cool, kind of maintaining? That's the two-edged sword of all that. To backtrack a little bit though, like, I've been following you for a while. Actually, right before you came on, I told Ron, I said, this dude's had some like big time guests on his show. Who's your favorite? Who's like a favorite that you've talked to?
Oh, you'll put me on the spot with that one. First off,
yeah, I am.
First off, it is tough to just pick a favorite. But I will say, shout out to everybody that's been on the show. I appreciate all the people that have been on my show and that do want to come on in the future. At this very moment, I'd have to give you guys a top 3. And in that top 3, Spook's definitely on that list. The Sisterhood of the Hunt ladies, Laurel and JC, they're awesome. Fun speaking to them, had me laughing the whole time. We'll text her the whole season, and I'll be like, hey, good job. They'll be like, hey, good job to me, so to speak. And I have to shout out, to round out that list, I go from Yakut's hunting down in Mexico. He was kind of the first of my international guests that I had.
That's rad. I guess it's probably hard. Who was the one that you were like, A, kind of blown away, and you might have said it already, that jumped on, and then B, like, maybe not favorite, but who was like the one you're like, this is just a cool conversation? Because I have one that I listened to that I thought was really cool that was on your show.
Really cool conversation and blown away. Again, Spook, me and him had a really good conversation. Ryan Bassam of Road to 100, he's another good conversation and surprise that I had on. But yeah, he was a cool guy. Honestly, I'll have to say probably the coolest thing though that I've done, and not that I'm probably the first to do it, but that a lot of people have said, hey, this is kind of what makes your show different, is doing the panels that I've done. Like, I've done the turkey panel, I've done the fly fishing panel, I've done the most recent one is the Chesapeake Bay area episode. Those are all cool and interesting in their own right, because it's like you get a lot of guys from different areas coming together, or in the Chesapeake Bay scenario, a lot of guides that wouldn't really come together in one sitting, but do, and you just get to talk and have fun with them. It's always great conversation when you have a whole bunch of outdoorsmen together. Kind of interested to see what your
I
favorite
like
is,
Joe
Chris.
Cermele a lot. He's a guy that I could just listen to him talk about fishing. He's just a regular dude. We're into outside of, and I've never met him, but like from following him from Meat Eater. I have a really good friend from West Virginia that has a fishing guide service that they met and fished years ago when he was still on the Field and Stream stuff. So I've been following him for 10 or 15 years. Him and I like a lot of the same music and kind of grew up similar. Listening to that dude just tell stories, and Ron will connect with this with me. I love pictures, so he's always posting the Polaroids and he's got all that stuff. That's cool to me. So I was like, man, that dude being on your show, like that was cool to me. I don't even know either one of you guys really, but like that was just a rad thing, man. And Jeff Coates, I think he's a cool guy.
Oh yeah, Jeff and Joe are definitely cool guys too. I enjoyed having them on as well. I mean, great conversation. Jeff, he's a very, very knowledgeable guy when it comes to waterfowl hunting. He's been doing this forever. He's been one of the main social media guides since social media came out. I mean, it was a blessing to have him on.
How'd you meet him? Did you just reach out?
So I've always knew Pit Boss from being in the area. Knew the name Jeff Coates, but the guys I mentioned from Jersey, Marsh Boys, they had him on their show a couple of times, and they're like, just reach out. Jeff's a cool guy. Like, he'll want to come on and help a guy out in the area. So I was like, all right. And then next thing I know, I have him on, and everything you see with Jeff Coates is Jeff Coates to a T. He's the guy on social media you see. He's just an awesome, down-to-earth guy. He knows so much about waterfowl in the industry from doing it for so long.
So I don't know him, but I've run into him and talked to him and met him at Wawa in Southwest Ocean City early in the morning. We go to Assateague and duck hunt every year. So everybody's there getting their coffee and snacks. He's got the world's largest duck boat in the parking lot, and we just everybody's in their camo and waders, or he's in his flip-flops. Obviously, no matter how cold it is. He's wearing shorts and flip-flops, right? And just had a cool moment. Hey, dude, cool hat. Hey, good luck today. That was just cool to me. Like, and the guys I was with were like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, dude, that was the Pit Boss. Like, there's a giant boat in the parking lot here. So that stuff is just cool to me. And I've heard from more than one person that he's just a rad guy.
I will have to say, I touched on it a little bit. I'm blessed, and I can't believe that I have had international guests come on the show.
Yeah. We all want to leave a legacy, as we're building something, and you're building something with Blue Hen Outdoors. What's the residue that you want to leave behind, or the message that you want to get across to your audience?
I think I mentioned this on a couple podcasts recently when I was talking to people. I mean, I just want to cast as broad a net as I can in the outdoor industry. I mean, I don't know about you guys. You guys are a little bit older than me, but as far as I know from the outdoor industry, it's kind of been just a narrow, you're this, you're that, or you're that. I'm like, no, I mean, look at me. I try to do it all. And like, I know a lot of guys try to do it all. Like, nobody just people just bow hunt, but nobody's like, oh, I'm just a bow hunter all year long. No, you fish in the off season. You might run traps in the off season. You might do something else in the off season, or it's like you're not just a fishing guy. Like you might fish hardcore all summer. Yeah, but you might get out with your buddies a couple of times, go duck hunt. You might go do an upland hunt. You might go do a deer hunt once in a while. So like I just want to cast as broad a net as I can and try to have as many different voices in the outdoors as I can, as the outdoor industry has kind of just boomed over the last couple of years.
Yeah. You're in a hot spot too, dude. That's like, everything all in one out there. We have some friends from Eastern Maryland and Eastern PA, that kind of Philadelphia, Jersey, Delaware, Eastern Maryland area. And, within a half an hour, can be on the bay or the ocean or some hills and valleys. So there's some cool stuff out there. So I had messaged you earlier today. Hit me with a story of maybe that wasn't as successful as you thought, that you learned from or taught you something. And it can be deep, it can be funny, whatever you want to. Just hit us with a story that taught you something.
Well, I talked about my first turkey hunt. That was a good story where I learned a lot. And then there's been a couple times since then that I've really had the birds right in my lap, where I've been right under them and learned, you can't make this noise or make this movement or whatever. So turkeys are always, I'm learning from them. But I will say a good learning story that I've had is past year on how to range better. So when I was at the lease in Maryland this past year, I had a nice 8-point coming straight down the pipe towards me. We'll say, like, the way the property was, there's our property, and then there was a cornfield next to us that hasn't been cut yet. So it was kind of like a funnel almost to where I was at. And I see the buck and the doe come out, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, what they're going to do? I'm sitting there watching them. And next thing you know, they start coming a little closer. And then next thing you know, I'm like, oh, they're coming to where I'm at. So I'm like, shit. So I'm like fumbling, grabbing my shit, pull back. I'm shaking. I'm like, taking my breath. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I have no idea where the range is. So I pull down, range them. And they're moving so quick to where I'm at. Like, I'm just getting spot ranges on them, basically. So it's like it's going 40, 45, 30, 35. I'm like, to where like they're right the point right under me. So I'm like, all right, they're going to at least be 20 yards by the time I pull back and shoot on these things. So I set my pin to 20, pull back, shoot, miss. I'm like, why did I miss? And the whole time after I shoot, I'm shaking like, oh my God, I hit him. He's done for. I got him. Get to the arrow, nothing. I'm like, did he duck it? Because the way he moved, he kind of looked like he ducked it. I'm like, did he duck it? I'm like, no. There's no way he could have ducked that. I had it right on the money shot. I'm like, dude. And I'm sitting myself like, what did I do wrong? So I get back up in the tree and range where he was at. I misranged him. He was 10 yards. He was at 30 instead of 20. So I'm like, mother effer. Lesson learned there is always make sure you have a good range or know where the range is before you take the shot.
Yeah.
So you can take an ethical shot.
Yeah. I mean, there's always lesson learned when it doesn't turn out as planned.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things we say at our camp is lessons learned. We look at each other and we say lessons learned because it's inevitably it'll happen.
Well, bro, as we're starting to wrap up here, getting close to 45 minutes, tell us where to find you.
Real quick, I got one quick funny story. I'm looking at the swan. There was a funny story about him. So I went out not this past year, but the year before. It was like when it was like 2015 out. And I'm like, I don't know if I should even be hunting this area. But then I go around. I'm like, okay, there's an open pocket back here. I know how to get here. I'll walk in with my hunting buddy. Not the one I mentioned, but a different one. I was taking this guy out for the first time duck hunting. I was like, all right. So I go and I'm throwing the decoys. And then buddy on the land's like, hey, one's floating away. So I'm like, oh. So I go run over, try to get it. Waders start filling up with water. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? 10 degrees out and I'm filling up with water already. The hunt hasn't even started yet. And I'm one of those people, come hell or high water, I'm calling it when I call it. I'm going to see something before I call it. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right. So I finished setting the decoys out. Water's full of water. I'm like, hang tight. I'll be back. I have coveralls in the car. So I strip down to my long johns, basically, my thermals, my base layer, and I jump in my coveralls. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be warm. I had knee boots that I had in the car. So I'm like, if I get anything, you're going to go play retriever and get it for me because you got the waders and you're not wet. So we're sitting there. He's like, well, I got to go back to the truck for a second. I'm like, all right, be quick because it's almost daybreak. Something could be flying or swimming up. And don't you know, as he's coming, right after he leaves, ducks are coming in, swimming up to the decoys. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a quick, easy morning. I'm going to shoot my limit, be done. That's going to be a bang-up good duck hunt. And I'll be like, well, shouldn't have been at the car. So they start swimming away. I'm like, what the hell? I hear him next to me. Hey, you see those ducks? I'm like, yeah, they're swimming away because they seen you walking up. So daybreak comes. I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right. And where we're hunting is kind of like on a point. So like we're on this side of the point. I walk through the brush onto the other side of the point to see if there's anything over there. I'm like, well, maybe they swimming over there. I'll just start shooting and have him go get it. Well, I see the swan. And in Delaware, you're able to shoot tundra swan and mute swan. Mute swan, you can kill as many as you want because they're invasive. Tundras, you got to pull the tag for. Like, oh, that's like a mute swan. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to sit in the bushes, wait to see if he gets close. Gets close enough. Bang! Stone shot him. One shot. Done. Then my buddy's like, I don't think he's dead because he's like, they flop and whatever. I'm like, all right, you don't think he's dead? Bang! Shoot him again. I'm like, now he's definitely dead. Well, as he's dying, he kicks out to where it's deep. I'm like, this can either go one of two ways. Either he can somehow use something to try to pull it towards him, or I'm going to have to go swimming. So then he tries to pull it, and it's getting a little farther away. I'm like, all right, enough of this. Get out. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, get out. And as he's getting out, I'm stripping out of my coveralls, taking my long johns off, getting down into my underwear. And I go diving like a polar bear, icebergs around, 15-degree weather to go get this thing. He's like, don't stop swimming. You're going to die of hypothermia if you stop swimming. No crap. Like, just keep moving. So I get him, come out with him. I'm shivering, about hypothermic. I'm on my back, have the warmth of him trying to warm me up. I'm like, start picking stuff up. I'm running him to the car. I'm going to go warm up, and then I'll be back and help you once I'm warm. I throw him in the car. I'm sitting there. He blasted on me. I'm like, and then he falls and gets wet as he's trying to pick stuff up. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's when you need a film crew follow you around and watch you on days like that, right?
Right, exactly. If I had a camera going that day, I'd probably have a couple million hits on YouTube for that.
No doubt about it. Well, I mean, that's, and that's cool because you're sitting there and you're looking at the bird on your wall, but it makes it to your wall because it's got a story that goes with it, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of my one rule on mounted things. If it's got a story that goes with it, or if it's an absolute specimen of what I'm getting, it's going on the wall.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we do this, right, Hunter? That's why we got into podcasting. Everybody's got a story to tell, and even though we have similar experiences, when we ask at the beginning of most interviews, we're like, all right, so what got you started? And it usually, I was young and somebody took me out and I fell in love with it. But all of our stories are unique, man. And there are thousands of stories each person carries. Why don't you hit us real quick, man? We want to wrap this thing fairly soon. Why don't you hit everybody with where can we find you?
Yeah, so anybody can find me at Blue Hen Outdoors on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. YouTube's kind of got more of my clips from hunting. When I first started hunting, I have some cooking videos on there. Blue Hen Outdoors on any platform. You can find the podcast, Spotify, Apple, Prime, iHeartRadio, YouTube. All the episodes are out there. Yeah, that's all I got. I mean, Blue Hen Outdoors is where you can find me at. And best way to contact me if you want to hop on the show is just shoot me a DM on Instagram.
Yeah. That's how we contacted you. Any last
cool
parting words that you want to leave for the Tracks and Tackle audience, man?
Yeah. Thank you guys again for having me on. Shout out to all my guests that I've had on my show. I greatly appreciate everybody's time from them coming on. I'd love to get you guys on, talk about your guys' show and how you guys got started. And anything I could say is if you guys got a dream or have a thought or an idea that you think could go somewhere, just take it. I mean, look where my idea and thoughts taken me. That's all I got.
Love that
my
message.
idea.
For sure, dude. Well, thanks again, dude.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Listening to your stories. Can't wait to connect. Send us out, Ron.
All right, folks, if you made it this long, make sure you give us a like, share, subscribe, talk to a friend, drop us a comment. Helps with the algorithm in the long run. But we're always going to remind you, go check out our friend Hunter Carr at Blue Hen Outdoors. You can find him anywhere you find podcasts, and he's on all socials. And then, just like we like to end it out, we're going to tell you, nature is our playground. Get outdoors, stay wild.